This is Game Night with Josh Hennick.
It's good!
On 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
And he scored!
Now live from inside the Ocean Casino Resort Studio, here's Josh Hennick.
Josh Hennick back here on a Hump Day Wednesday edition on 97.3 ESPN FM, 97.3 ESPN. Mobile app powered by First Bank. See out, and as always, we are live on my YouTube channel at Josh Hennig. Phillies Offense erupts. And look, in the grand scheme of things, we're not here today to diss on the Phillies or talk bad about them, but we are here to acknowledge what needs to be said about the team, which is the bats came alive. Luzardo's back on track. And are we finally getting the best out of Alec Bohm? Plus, we didn't get to it too much yesterday, but the top takeaways from Eagles training camp. It's a Weinberg Wednesday. Dave Weinberg will join us coming up in less than 20 minutes from now. And as always, you guys can join the conversation at 609-403-0973. I am thoroughly impressed with the Phillies game today. And while today's game does not erase all of the concerns I have with this team, right? Left field, center field, second base, the bullpen, none of that changes for me. I am still frustrated with all of those positions. But what you saw today was an example of why the Phillies should be able to survive without Bryce Harper. Because of the contributions you got from Bohm, Schwarber, and Turner. I still don't know if you can win a championship with Alec Bohm being your fourth best hitter. But man, he is showing that whatever was going on with him at the beginning of the year is light years behind him. I've always felt that Alec Bohm is a good baseball player. And that his potential was to always be an all-star. You don't get to be the third overall pick by accident. There's something in your tool chest that says, I have the ability to execute at a high level. But to me, the key for Bohm is as soon as he was able to close the door on the month of April, he turned back into the guy that we all know he can be. Since May 1st, that would be the last 36 games, Alec Bohm is a .328 hitter with a .367 batting average, 5 homers, 16 RBI. And more importantly than all of those stats, he has shown the ability to bounce back. This is a guy in Alec Bohm who has still had some rough days at the office. But he has found a way to endure. He has found a way to get back on track. I think at the end of the day, that is the biggest thing for any baseball player. How do you respond to going 0 for 4? How do you respond to a game where you're just not at your best, right? Alec Bohm went 0 for 4 in the first game. Back on Sunday. He has bounced back in a mighty way in this series against the Cubs. He has been absolutely just making contact, getting hits, getting on base, getting RBI. This is a guy in Alec Bohm who last month had a 3 strikeout game. Very, very unlike him. I would like to point out what Alec Bohm did after that 3 strikeout game. He hit almost 300 over the next 6 games. To me, the bigger point about Alec Bohm is he is finally starting to find that consistency again. And he is back on track to being a guy who can get close to 100 RBI. He is up to 26 RBI in the season. If he continues the pace he is on, he's going to get 94, 95 RBI this year. That is on par with what he is capable of. And it's very, very important. And not just because there's no Harper, but because of the fact that unless the Phillies make a massive move at the deadline, unless the Phillies go out and get a guy to play center field or second base who's a huge, huge name player, if Alec Bohm is going to continue to be your fourth best player in terms of as a hitter, you need what you're seeing from him right now the rest of the year into the postseason. Harper's out. He is completely unavailable. Schwarber looks like he's breaking out of his slump. Trey Turner has shown you that he is probably your most consistent hitter in terms of getting on base this year. And if they keep with the lineup with Turner at the top of the lineup, and let's say Schwarber 2, if you're going to keep Bohm at 3 without Harper, he's got to be able to drive in runs. He's got to be able to make good contact. He's got to be able to keep doing what he's doing right now. Because if he does, you have a chance to win more games than not. Obviously, the other big takeaway today's game was Jose Luzardo. After 2 horrible outings, Luzardo was back on track. And frankly, that earned run that was credited to him should never have happened. Nick Castellanos had one of the worst days of his life on a baseball field today. And part of that horrible day at the office was he should have caught that foul ball in foul territory. He knew it. I knew it. Every fan in the ballpark knew it. If he catches that ball, Luzardo gets out of that inning, allowing no runs. But instead, Castellanos, who couldn't catch a ball in the outfield, had multiple base running blunders today. I mean, when did Castellanos think he is Speedy Gonzalez or the Flash or whatever fast character you want to? He's not a speed merchant, but yet I don't know what got into his mind in recent weeks where he's starting to think that he can outrun above average throws on the baseball field. He's not that good of a runner. And frankly, Castellanos, he is starting to turn into the guy that really nobody wants. I feel like when I watch Castellanos play, he just looks like a guy who doesn't really have it all together. You know, and Mike Gill was kind of looking at me sideways earlier today on the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN FM and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank. See how Josh Hennick hanging out with you in the Ocean Casino Resort Studios of Atlantic City. I was saying that Castellanos needs to see a shrink or something because the decision-making that this guy has is just so bizarre. Like, he makes Rojas look like a genius sometimes. By the way, Rojas, horrible bunt today. I mean, one of the worst attempted bunts I've ever seen in my life. But Castellanos makes decisions that are completely perplexing for a guy who has been in the league for as long as he has. It's Castellanos basically being a waste of money is part of the reason why you need Bohm. You need Turner and Schwarber to be who they are because you can never rely on or depend on Nick Castellanos. And with how mediocre JT Realmuto has become as a hitter, how much regression Bryson Stott has had, you get excited when Max Kepler does well. And that's a problem in and of itself because if this team, everyone plays up to their potential, Kepler should be the 7th or 8th guy on this team when it comes to hitting. Now you're asking him to be more. And I think that's why today's game, I don't criticize the Phillies for the win. I'm excited for the win. I'm happy they won 2 out of 3 games. Apparently they can beat the Dodgers and the Cubs, but they can't beat the Pirates and the Blue Jays. I don't understand it, but maybe they'll redeem themselves this weekend. But you're going to need to upgrade multiple positions at the deadline because you're not getting enough from certain players. But I congratulate and applaud Alec Boehm for the way he has turned things around, and he has bounced back from multiple games in a big way. Over on the text board at 609-403-0973, Jeff from Ocean City, who's on the beach, says the bats are hot, Luzardo is back, and the Phillies are ready to go on a run. Ring the bell. And yes, Jeff at Ocean City, we will have some U.S. Open picks with Dave Weinberg coming up in about 10 minutes from now. Yeah, I think the Luzardo being back is such a huge deal. And not just because Nola is going to be out for an indefinite amount of time, but because of the fact that Luzardo stabilizes your rotation, it stabilizes the team, it stabilizes an organization that needed a guy like Luzardo to be able to step up and be what you know he can be. He is an incredible player when he's on. Those 2 starts were just deflating. And frankly, they shouldn't have left him in there for the 1 game. And the second game, I'm not fully sure why he struggled. They were saying on the broadcast today that he's holding his glove higher on his arm, that he's doing a better job of hiding the ball. I don't know about what the deal is with him or not, but to see him come back, that was a big deal. So again, there's a lot of positives from this win, but the 2 I focus on are Luzardo bouncing back and Boehm continuing to show you that he can be a guy that steps up in big moments. And listen, I'm sorry to Gene from Cape May Courthouse that I don't come on the radio and scream and yell about how the Phillies are back and they're the greatest thing since sliced bread. I'm a realist, Gene, okay? I'm not going to read your whole text because you are trying to take what I said for the last 14 minutes and paint it in a narrative that suits what you feel like you heard. A baseball team can win 2 out of 3 games, and we still know who they are. Everything that I said last week, everything that I said on Monday, none of that changes just because you win 2 out of 3 games. But because you win 2 out of 3 games, I'm going to talk about how glad I am about Alec Boehm. And I'm going to talk about how it's great to see Luzardo is back. But I'm still going to complain about Castellanos. And I'm still going to criticize Rojas when it needs to be criticized. And I'm still not going to act like that the bullpen doesn't need improvement. If you're looking for a cheerleader for the Phillies, you're not going to find it on 97.3 ESPN. Because Mike Gill on the Sports Bash is always going to be critical when it's necessary. I am always, Josh Hennig here in the Ocean Casino Resort Studios, am always going to tell you like it is. And Billy Schwein thinks the sky is falling half the time on the weekends. So if you're looking for a cheerleader, I don't know what to tell you, Gene at Cape May Courthouse. Frankly, Castellanos is very frustrating. And I'm never going to let go of that. Jeff from Ocean City gets it. Send me the applause emojis. Thank you, Jeff. You get it. All right, we'll talk some more baseball and get into some Eagles coming up next. Dave Weinberg joins us for a Weinberg Wednesday here on 97.3 ESPN. Josh Hennig hanging out with you on a Hump Day Wednesday.
With GMF financing to qualified buyers excludes Traverse and Corvette excludes prior sales. Have you heard? Nobody beats a Bennett Chevy deal, and I mean nobody. All this month, Bennett Chevy is selling new Chevys at the GM supplier employee price. Plus, you keep all the rebates, saving you as much as 20% on your new Chevy. That's right, you keep all the rebates and you pay the same GM supplier employee price we pay. That's up to 20% in savings. And you can save even more with available 0% financing. Thinking about buying pre-owned? Well, again, nobody beats Bennett Chevy. Just bring us any clunker you can, and we'll give you a minimum $10,000 towards any pre-owned on our lot. Yes, I said a minimum 10 grand for your junk. Who else is going to make fantastic offers like Bennett Chevy? Nobody. That's who. Plus, you'll never experience any haggles or hassles or need to negotiate because our non-commissioned sales staff is paid on your satisfaction, not how much you spend. Together, let's drive. Bennett Chevy, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com.
I want to learn how to cook, but I keep ordering takeout.
Accomplishing goals is hard, but when your goal is to learn a new language, Babbel makes it easy. In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel will help you start having conversations in as little as 3 weeks. Words and phrases you'll actually use. So when someone asks,
"How's your French going?"
you can say,
Babbel facilite grandement l'apprentissage d'une nouvelle langue.
now save up to 50% on your Babbel subscription at Babbel.com. That's BABBEL.com.
This Father's Day, help Dad be all he can be with a gift from the Home Depot, because he's not just Dad, he's the handyman of the house, the plumber in a pinch, and the emergency mechanic. Upgrade his gear this Father's Day with the Husky Mechanics 270-piece tool set from the Home Depot. Now on special buy for $119, a $695 value. For every kind of dad, find the perfect gift this Father's Day at the Home Depot.
This is the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network.
Progressive Insurance presents the Sports Flash on 97.3 ESPN. NBA Finals continuing tonight. Game 3 as the Indiana Pacers host the Oklahoma City Thunder. The series is knotted at a game apiece after the Thunder took Game 2 on Sunday. Our coverage right here starts at 7:30 on 97.3 ESPN. NHL Stanley Cup Finals Thursday. The Florida Panthers hosting the Edmonton Oilers. The Panthers are the defending champions and now lead the series 2-1 after a 6-1 victory in Game 3 on Monday night. The Eagles wrapped up mandatory training camp on Tuesday, their final workout before training camp begins on July 23rd. Head coach Nick Sirianni said that the team will not decide on a right guard until training camp begins in pads.
Don't have to make any of those decisions quite yet. We got a lot of football to practice, a lot of football to play. Obviously a big part of the offensive line and the evaluation of the offensive line comes in pads. That doesn't mean we're not evaluating them like crazy right now, but a big part of that's going to come when we put the pads on.
Progressive Insurance, bundle auto and home, renters or condo, and save with Progressive. I'm Tony Desiri, and that's your Sports Flash on 97.3 ESPN.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Here'th my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover is accepted at the places I love to shop. Getteth with the times.
With the times? You're playing the lute.
Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
From the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dan Zarrow. Tomorrow's going to be the hottest day of the week, and humidity will kick back up a notch, too. Tonight stays clear, quiet, fairly comfortable, low is 68 degrees. Tomorrow warming up to 89, mostly sunny and breezy. Friday, increasing clouds, still warm with a high of 80. There is a chance of late-day showers, and then looks like we'll see hit-or-miss showers and slightly cooler temperatures through the weekend. Get weather 24/7 wherever you are. Download our free mobile app today.
When the lottery jackpot gets high, it's fun to play in an office pool. Just remember to always play responsibly. Record who pitches in and photocopy tickets for everyone involved. For more tips, visit the New Jersey Lottery's website at njlottery.com/pool rules.
This is Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
Check back on the text board a little bit later this hour, 609-403-0973. Your DMs into the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. But right now, let's talk, as we always do, to Weinberg Wednesday. Dave Weinberg is back here with me on 97.3 ESPN. And if my eyes don't deceive me, it looks like he is back at Gusto Brewing in North Cape May. Is that correct?
That is correct. They gave me a free hat to give me a little publicity on the show.
Oh, wow. Look at that. I see it now. Wow. Now I'm a little jealous. They never gave me a hat.
I'll see what I can do.
You know a guy who knows a guy? Is that what it is?
Yeah, there you
go. Dave, Phillies, they won 2 out of 3 against the Cubs, which is so bizarre, right? Because this is the same team that just lost 3 straight to the Pirates. So it's like, which team are they? Are they the team that can take 2 out of 3 against the Cubs, or the team that can't beat the lowly Pirates?
Yeah, it's I guess it's a little bit of both. I mean, yeah, they look dreadful against Pittsburgh, and then Pittsburgh's one of the worst teams in the league, as you can say. Then they bounce back and get 2 out of 3. I guess that's just going to be the way the season goes. I mean, they're going to they seem like woefully inconsistent. You know, just when you think they got things turned around, they get swept. Or just when you think the season's over, they win 2 out of 3. So I guess we're just gonna have to like buckle up and enjoy the ride and just see where it ends up at the end.
You know, for you, when you look at this team, I made a comment before you came on that I like Alec Boehm. I'm glad he's bounced back. I'm glad he's playing better. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if you can win a championship if Alec Boehm is your 4th best hitter.
Yeah, I guess it's probably more of a knock on the other guys, right? That there's nobody better than him. Yeah, I think you can. They haven't yet, but that's going to be tough. They're going to have to upgrade somewhere. I mean, I'm more concerned with the center field at the moment, but I think he can do worse than Alec Boehm in the lineup. I mean, like you said, he has bounced back a little bit. I happen to think I'm actually a little higher on him than some other people. But yeah, I mean, I guess until they do it, you're going to have to doubt it. But yeah, that's a tough question. I don't really know the answer, to be honest with you.
I don't know if anybody does, and I totally understand that. It's just, for me, I felt like, I was saying before you came on, for me, I like the fact that he bounced back from that offer that he had Sunday in Pittsburgh this week. I like the fact that when he had 3 strikeouts last month, he went on a run of hitting over 300 in the next 7 games. Like, to me, I think that he has made some huge strides after a horrible month of April, because you need him. There is no Harper right now. I can't depend on Nick Castellanos to do anything right. So it's like, to me, Boehm is the guy that's got to step up, and I applaud him for stepping up in recent days. I'm just not sure I don't know if, Harper, Schwarber, Turner, Boehm, that 4 is enough when you get to the postseason.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it hasn't been right to this point. So yeah, I guess you do it. You're right to question that. I give him a lot of credit for being able to go over and play first base too while Harper's out. That shows me a lot of versatility. I happen to think he's a really good third baseman, and some people disagree. But for him to move over and take over first base and do a reasonably good job, that speaks a lot to his versatility too.
Well, I think the reason why he's at third base, because Mike Gill and I talked about this earlier today, I think in the Phillies' mind, they think that Boehm is a better defensive player than Kemp is. And I think that's why they shifted them back. Boehm is a 6'5", former 3rd overall pick, and Otto Kemp is a nobody. So who would you rather have at third base?
Oh, they did switch him back today? I didn't see the game.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that does make sense. Yeah, Boehm's a much better third baseman than Kemp. Like, you can, not to downgrade the position, but you can get away with having a mediocre player at first base, I think.
Oh, absolutely. Although I will say that seeing Kemp today at first base showed you how small he is, because when you saw Pete Crow Armstrong, the stud for the Cubs, get on first base at one point, he's like towering over Kemp. and I'm thinking, is Kemp my size? Like, how small is this guy?
Yeah, he does look pretty short there, and that can be a detriment at first. I mean, like I said, he can be a mediocre player, but you got to have somebody who can go up and get errant throws, dig things out of dirt, stretch as far as as possible to try and win close plays at first base. So yeah, I guess height does kind of matter when you think about it at first.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of variables going into the baseball. Of course, Luzardo would never give up that one run if Castellanos didn't drop the foul ball. And, I mean, it's just such an idiot, Castellanos, sometimes. I just get frustrated with him, Dave. I really do. I mean, I don't understand. How can you play baseball for that long at the major league level and just be so brain dead? Like, when did he start thinking he's a speed merchant? He's getting thrown out on these extending run plays now. Like, it's like, dude, you're not that fast. Like, I don't get him, really.
He's a different kind of guy, Josh. It just his personality is really out there. Yeah, if you listen to his interviews, you really can't make much sense of him most of the time. Yeah, I guess he probably has a higher opinion of himself and is willing to take some chances that he probably shouldn't be taking. There's no question about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Dave Weinberg joins us for a Weinberg Wednesday live from Gusto Brewing in North Cape May here on 97.3 ESPN. I want to touch on with the Eagles because, the infamous or famous, depending on who you ask, one-day mandatory minicamp. But everyone was there, Dave. The whole team showed up this week. Unlike most NFL teams where guys are always holding out, not showing up. I mean, we literally live in a world, Dave, where Aaron Rodgers showed up for minicamp and TJ Watt didn't. Like, that's how weird the world is today. But guess what? Every Eagle player, healthy or not, they were in the building this week. So I got to give them credit for it.
Yeah, I mean, they probably had nothing better to do. I don't know. Maybe their tea time was canceled or something. I don't know. Whether their vacation doesn't start until tomorrow. I don't know. But yeah, it's it's nice that they all showed up. It shows that they're all in and committed to, putting their best foot forward when it comes to the off season. Nothing really matters until training camp starts. But it's it's encouraging to see everybody show up. But I'll agree with you there.
Yeah, I don't act like I'm super excited necessarily, but it's just I just feel like it's a positive. I'm taking absolutely. The positive.
Absolutely, there's no drama, there's no controversies. Yeah, that's a good thing.
Although I did think it was funny, so I got to ask you about this, Dave, because you're a guy who is the area, right? So
I do.
AJ Brown put out on social media that apparently Jalen Hurts is going home for the summer to his wife in their house. So he will not be in the area. Tanner McKee is going back to his family for the summer. But A.J. Brown apparently has a house in the area, and he's looking for a quarterback to train with him this summer. Does Dave Weinberg have... Now, he said on the post, he says, I'm not looking for a fan who wants to hang out. He says, He basically clarified it later. He says, I am going to pay someone who is a competent thrower of a football to train with me. So I'm sure Dave Weinberg has some recommendations for some maybe washed up local quarterbacks who could maybe help A.J. Brown out, right?
Joe Callahan.
There you go. I knew you would have someone off the top of your head as soon as I said this.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how far away A.J. Brown lives. He probably lives in Morristown or something like that. But if he's relatively close to the area, I would give Joe a call. I'm sure he can probably still throw the football, and maybe he'd consider it for the right price. He'd be my first pick.
I mean, I think it's funny that Kyle McCord does live in the area. And apparently, Kyle McCord is too busy this summer to help his teammate A.J. Brown.
That's pretty funny. Yeah, you think two of them would get together. Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
You would think, but so I just thought it was funny that A.J. Brown is like petitioning the internet for a
maybe and maybe Matt Ryan. He's been known to spend some time in North Wildwood in the summer, so maybe get A.J. Brown to come down to North Wildwood and hang out with the boys down there.
Yeah, a little beach football, just chucking it around on the North Inlet,
Yep, there you go.
But I know a lot of people are excited. The Grassy Sound Pier is opening up again this weekend, so I know that place is going to be nuts. So.
Oh, woohoo! Okay, good.
I know you don't care, but I know there's a
the Grassy Sound Pier.
Yeah, well, the one that's in between North Wildwood and Stern Harbor. That was closed for 3 years.
Yes. Got it. Okay. Oh, really? I didn't know that. Okay. All right.
Well, I know there's a bunch of people who were concerned about it, and now it's open again. So I've been telling people I know, if you could avoid the area, stay away, because I feel like every fisherman is going to flood that area this weekend. So.
Oh yeah, I know it's a popular spot. Yep, you're right there.
I know what Dave Weinberg's going to be watching this weekend, which is the U.S. Open, the next major on the schedule. How you feeling about your picks this weekend?
Well, I'm going with Scheffler again. I mean, he's kind of like the chalk, but it just seems like he's the best in the world, I think. And as long as he doesn't make any like ridiculous mistakes, which he hardly ever does, I think the harder the course, the better he plays. So, and from what I can gather, Roquemont's going to be really, really tough. So,
yes,
I would give him like the first chance of winning this. I picked some like long shots, so to speak. Colin Morikawa. I still think there's going to be this one of these years he's going to be able to contend. I mean, he's kind of inconsistent. Hasn't really had the best year, but I think he might be there. DeChambeau, again, I think he'll probably be in contention as well. Not a big Rory backer this week. I don't know. He just seems like there's something going on with him that kind of affecting his golf and his life. I don't know what it is, but how about you? Who are you favoring?
Well, I love Morikawa because he's got 8 top 20 finishes in the last 11 plays. So to me, I'm with you. This is a hard course. This is not a course for drivers. This is a course for guys who can kind of pick around the edges, right? So I do agree. Scheffler's in there. I love Morikawa this weekend. I also like Corey Connors. I feel like he's a guy that has that ability to put it on the fairway and not get lost in the sides. So I also tend to like Shane Lowry on a course like this. Again, guys can kind of pick the corners, right? And I'll go a little off the normal, right? I'll go a little Justin Thomas. I could see him playing well in the tournament this weekend.
Let's see there. Okay, there I am. I'm back. I was checking my bet MGM to find out who I bet on. I forget.
Yeah. So
I bet Harris English. I think because I just saw some stuff online that he was one of the underdogs that might contend. So anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, my 5 again because you lost me there for a sec. My 5 are Scheffler, Morikawa.
Okay, I'm there.
I like Shane Lowry, I like Corey Connors, and I like Justin Thomas.
Okay, all right, I can see that. Yeah. Justin's he's usually not. He's another one who kind of fares well on tough courses. He doesn't let the moment get too big for him. He's been there before, kind of knows how to. Like you said, it's more important about knowing where not to hit it as to where to hit it, and he's one of those guys that can fit. That's a very good strategist. So yeah, I could definitely see him too.
And if someone can find, I don't know, all the sports books are different. I mean, and I'm not endorsed by one right now, so I'm not promoting any particular one. But I will say that I know some books do allow you to bet negative about certain golfers. If I'm going to bet negative about 2 golfers this weekend, I think Bryson DeChambeau and John Rahm are going to have a rough weekend.
Huh. Okay. What do you mean negative? Not meant to cut?
Like I know sometimes you could bet like guy doesn't finish in the top 20 or 30. Like you can bet if they do finish in the top 20. You could also bet in some books that they can't finish in the top 20. So
how about that? Yeah, okay. I know Dustin Johnson, I've heard his name like bandied about because he's been so good in the past, but I think he's totally done. So
I'm with you. I don't know if DJ's ever going to be good again. I think he's done.
Yeah. I think you're right. Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know you could bet a guy about. Yeah, I know you could bet guys not to make the cut or to fade or to finish.
Yeah, you could fade. Some of the books let you do it. Some of them don't. You know what another guy will throw out there? I'm not necessarily picking him, but I know Ben Griffin is like a plus 500 for
he's
like
one
a
of the
top...
guys. He was one of my 5 that I bet. I was just trying to think of his last name. There you go. Yeah. I'm with you there. I'm totally with you with him. Yep.
I just think that when it comes to sports, and Dave, you know this as well as anyone, all the years that you covered different players, sometimes you just believe you're playing well, you play well. And I think right now Ben Griffin's looking around being like, I've gone face to face with some studs in the recent weeks. Like I think there's a part of him looking around being like, I can hang with these guys, yeah.
That's definitely true in golf, Josh. I mean, that if the more that's such a mental game that if you get your confidence going and you actually believe that you can contend, then you probably will. I mean, that's just the way that game is. It's such a, you can fall off the rails at any time, but if you're in the groove, I mean, there's no telling what you can accomplish out there.
Absolutely. And when it's also an individual sport. Let me ask you real quick before I let you go, because there's I don't know if you've seen this video. So Andy Roddick went on a rant apparently yesterday or the day before. I can't keep these days. They all blend together for me. But so he went on a rant that basically said that he believes that NBA players are not the most well-conditioned athletes. He believes that tennis players are more well-conditioned. He says tennis players don't play in air conditioning. They got to play all by themselves. They don't get people to sub into the game for them. He contends tennis players are in better condition than basketball players.
Maybe, but no. I mean, I know they can play like for 3 hours, and I know it's exhausting, but they do get breaks to sit and stuff during changeovers, and it's not like they're out there nonstop. And basketball are the same thing, but basketball's a much more intense, fast paced, physical game. I disagree with him there.
It's a hot take video right now that's circulating around. So
I'll check it out.
Yeah, but I mean, you can imagine, like it's the headline of everything, Dave, right? Retired fill in the blank player says this about other sport. It's like the thing to do now. So
yeah, just trying to stay relevant, I guess. Like you said, get some attention now that their playing days are over.
Although I will say that French Open was a great French Open on Sunday. Not that half the world was watching, but
I was among the half that was not.
It's okay. I totally understand. It's also hard when there's no Americans like in the final of these tournaments. It's a lot. It's not like back in the day when it felt like every tournament had Pete Sampras and Andre Agassi and the short run that Michael Chang had. Like when those guys were in the finals, like it was a big deal for people. Jimmy Connors, right? Now. Right. I mean,
John McEnroe, yeah.
John. Well, I was trying to stick with a certain era because there was that era. Because people forget that when McEnroe was good, most Americans were not. Like the American tennis game, it was him and one other guy, and that was it. Whereas like there was that run from it was like 88 to like 98, where it was like Americans were like everywhere.
Mm-hmm. True. Yeah.
But now it's like the best players in the world. They're from Italy. They're from Spain. They're from France. They're from everywhere else. And I know. Listen, I know that Francis Tiafoe and guys like that, they are American, but right now the best American tennis players are women right now, so nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, I guess it goes in cycles. I don't know, but it's been a while since Americans have had such an impact on the game.
Dave Weinberg, happy Father's Day ahead of time to you. I'm sure you have some wonderful plans with your family. Whether they told you about it or not, I'm sure you do.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll have fun regardless. Yep, absolutely.
Always appreciate you jumping on. Tell Zach and everyone at Gusto I said hello, and you and I will talk soon, all right?
All right, I'll see if I can get you a hat.
Take care.
Josh, thanks again. I appreciate it as always. Talk to you next week.
Absolutely. Josh Hennig back here in the Ocean Casino Resort Studios here on 97.3 ESPN. I will say that the people down at Gusto are great people. Zach and the whole team down there, they're just great people. It's one of those deals where, in my current work capacity, I don't get out to some of these places as often as I would like. It's one of those deals where I'm glad to see that Dave Weinberg has kind of found a groove down there to check them out. And anyone who knows anything about me knows if you've met me, if you've talked to me for any extended period of time, I'm a big believer in small businesses, supporting the local community. It's a very important thing for me. I have a whole story about why. Some of you maybe have heard it over the years here at 97.3 ESPN, or maybe you've heard it from me in person. But I'm just glad to see people like Dave Weinberg and others supporting the local community. Whether it's Gusto Brewing down in North Cape May or yesterday's Creekside Tavern in Marmora, or wherever else, there, Slack Tie Brewing down in Dennis Township, there's just a lot of good people out there. Mike Seafood down in Sea City, that they put their blood, sweat, and tears into their business, into putting out the best product possible. And I think that there's a lot of times where people, for a variety of reasons, and I'm not here to hyper criticize anybody, but if you're going out to watch the game, we want to go out watch the Phillies game, watch the Eagles, or the NBA Finals tonight. You hear the game on 97.3 ESPN. Maybe you want to go out with your friends and watch the game. I know there's a tendency to, lean toward going to the more mainstream establishments. Okay, the chain restaurants, the bigger name entities. Because maybe that's what you've always done, or maybe that's what's more convenient for you, or maybe they got some sort of food, happy hour, drinking deal, right? That, maybe works for you. But I've always said, I'm not the kind of person who's got a ton of money. No one in my family ever has been. But I still believe in the idea that if you're going to spend your disposable income, you should do it with people in your own community who are good people who give back to the community, people who support the local community, people who do what's right by their customers, their employees, and all that stuff. So it's always a bit of a heartwarming thing for me when I see people out and about supporting the local community and not just spending their money with the mainstream or the chain restaurants, or just because they're a big name. And again, I don't criticize people who do. It's your money. You do what you want with it. I just don't feel like it's always necessary in every case, and it's probably part of the reason why I write so many articles about local businesses here in South Jersey. It's probably part of the reason why when you flip over to 973ESPN.com, or you go to wearesouthjersey.com, or any of our Town Square Media websites, and you see my articles, you notice there's a lot of them about local businesses. And it's because of the fact that we don't support the people in our community, then we're not supporting our community. To me, it's a pretty simple equation, because a lot of those people, a lot of those businesses, they support the local sports. They support local charities. They support local events and activities. I mean, look at Mike Gill and the Sports Bash. This Friday, they're going to be at Maury's Pier down in Wildwood. Not just being down on Maury's Pier because it's Maury's Pier. They're there for the Eagles Autism Foundation. They're down there because, they're raising money. When I'm going to be, down in Seattle again this summer for the Make the World Better Foundation, Connor Barwin's event, we're not just out there because it's Seattle City. We're out there because, we're supporting a great cause and a great organization. And so, but the businesses that get involved with these events, they're not just doing it because, no, they're doing it because there's a specific push behind it. And I think that that's something that kind of gets lost in translation sometimes. Thank you for attending my Take Talk. Josh Hennick here on 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank Seattle. I see you, Steven Ventnor. We'll get to you coming up on the other side. 609-403-0973 is the text board. Your DMs into the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank Seattle. And as always, we are live on my YouTube channel at Josh Hennick.
This is the NBA Finals.
SGA, a long three on its way, and good for the NBA's MVP.
The Thunder respond and tie the Pacers at 1. Now the series shifts to Indianapolis.
If you're Indiana, there's no need to panic. You got one. You came there to get one, and you got one.
Game 3 of the Pacers and Thunder. Coverage begins today at 7:30 Eastern, with tip-off at 8:30 Eastern.
Listen to the NBA Finals, Game 3, exclusively on 97.3 ESPN.
Huge news. Right now at Wendy's, you can get a Son of Baconator for just $3. I don't think you understand this situation. The Son of Baconator is only $3 for a limited time. Smoked bacon, rich melted cheese. That Son of Baconator is only $3. Thank you to whoever wished upon that star. For bacon that just won't quit, gotta be Wendy's.
U.S. price and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Alaska and Hawaii, not valid on a combo or in third-party delivery platforms.
With Progressive, renters can save on protection for the things that make your place yours, even things that don't make sense to everyone.
People always wonder why I don't get rid of my guitar since I never play. But it's like, what if I actually end up taking lessons? Sure, I've had it for 8 years, but if I get rid of it, then what will my New Year's resolution be next January?
Exactly. So bundle your renters and auto and save with Progressive and protect the things that make sense to you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates and other insurers not available in all states or situations. Covered subject to policy terms and conditions.
Another checkup? Why are so many people getting new puppies?
Dr. Kim's veterinary office is littered with cuteness.
We are booked solid for weeks, but who can say no to a puppy, right? Oh, who's a good boy? Oh, who's what? Oh,
She needs to find extra vet techs to get those pups some extra love.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, candidates can find it easier, so you can hire easier. Redeem your $75 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code RUN to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code RUN for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code RUN for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Hey, if you have ugly yellow toe fungus, you got to hear about the secret 2-minute trick that I found for my husband. It works from both the inside and the outside. Thousands of people are using it to get rid of their toe fungus. You can check it out at crystalflesh.com. Jake started off with a small spot on his big toe, and then it spread and got really bad. His toes were nasty. It was so embarrassing. He was afraid to take his socks off. He hid his yellow and crumbly toes from everyone. He tried everything to get rid of it. Nothing helped. And then we found crystalflesh.com. It was the only thing that worked. In just a few weeks, his toes looked amazing. He's now walking around barefoot again. You guys need to try this. I'm telling you, this stuff is different. It's not sold in stores, but go check it out at crystalflesh.com. They'll even let you try it risk-free, so you have nothing to lose. But whatever you do, don't let it get worse. You don't have to live with this anymore. Go check it out now. Just click over to crystalflesh.com.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
It's the Construction Reduction Sales Event all month long at Matt Black Kia. Right now, put 0 down with 1.9% APR for 60 months on every new 2025 Kia Sportage or Sorrento in stock. Plus, we want your trade. Any make or model, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. We'll even lower your current car payment or give you 2 years of free maintenance on any new Kia. That's lower payments, more peace of mind, and free maintenance at MattBlackKia.com. It's gotta be a Matt Black Kia. Call 215-703-8526 for details.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and on the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
All right, as promised, we'll get back to the text board now at 609-403-0973. By the way, one of my big takeaways from Eagles training camp, and I mentioned this in passing yesterday, we didn't get a lot of time because I want to hit on a bunch of stuff with Dave Weinberg there, but Keely Ringo getting so many reps on the first team, to me, it's very clear that the Eagles are looking at him and they want him to take that job. And I'm not saying it's an apples-to-apples comparison, but for me, it does genuinely feel like that the it does genuinely feel like the Phillies are sorry, the Phillies. The Eagles, they want Keely Ringo, kind of like Quinyon Mitchell, to get this opportunity to win this job. And so, to me, I think what's very interesting is that if you're giving a guy that many opportunities to win a job, it almost makes you wonder if he doesn't win the job. Are they going to look at him and maybe bail on him in a couple of years? Or are they going to look at him as, like Isaiah Rodgers, like a guy that can still be a part of this team if a guy goes down with an injury? I'm very curious what happens with the Keely Ringo situation. All right. Let's get to your text. Steven Metner chimes in. He says, I still think the Phillies should try to acquire Adolis Chapman from the Red Sox to replace Alvarado, and then buy low on some guys with other teams. I think that the Indians, or the Cleveland Guardians, I still call them the Indians, the team from Cleveland, okay? That Emmanuel Clase is a guy you can buy low on. I can see him redeeming himself in Phillies red. I like Chapman a lot more than Clase. And it's not the Clase issues in the playoffs. I'm not overly concerned about that. I'm a big believer in the fact that, you saw a Phillies organization. What is their history? Their history is very clear. Their history is the fact that when they acquired Brad Lidge, Lidge had some playoff troubles himself, and they found a way to get him refocused and recalibrated. So maybe for a guy like Clase, a change of scenery would do him well. But I love the idea of Chapman replacing Alvarado. Mike Gill and I talked about so they surveyed over 100 players anonymously in Major League Baseball. Of the top six pitchers that hitters said they did not want to see in a big playoff game, like a Game 7 in a World Series, one of those six was Adolis Chapman. Chapman is still, even at his advanced age, the kind of guy that's got the juice, he got the stuff to really scare people and really be a dominant pitcher. And I would love to see him in a Phillies uniform. I don't know what I don't know what it would take to give up to get him. But I'm telling you right now, if the Red Sox called me and said, hey, whatever, as long as it's not Andrew Painter or Aiden Miller, I'm strongly considering that deal. I mean, even if it's Eduardo Tate straight up for Chapman, I'm making that deal. I think he can be that kind of impact player. Thanks, Steven Bentner. Cole from LBI chimes this. As part of the comparing sports conversation I think is interesting is that baseball players, especially the ones who can play great defense, are some of the best athletes in the world. A 5-tool center fielder is basically as athletic as a wide receiver or defensive back. And he needs to be able to read a white 3-inch ball from 300 feet away. And hitting is pretty much the hardest thing to do in sports. Cole and LBI, I said that for a gazillion years. Hitting a baseball is probably one of the hardest sports activities to do. And listen, we've seen guys play baseball, also play football. Deion Sanders was a center fielder in baseball. Brian Jordan played baseball and football. There's plenty of guys who've shown they can play baseball and other sports. So, yeah, a 5-tool, like a Mike Trout. I always contended if Mike Trout lived in another part of the country, like if Mike Trout grew up in, let's say, Alabama instead of New Jersey, he'd be in the NFL. He wouldn't be in Major League Baseball necessarily. Look at a guy like Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray was a first-round draft pick in Major League Baseball, but he chose to play football. So you're right. An elite, high-caliber, 5-tool baseball player is definitely one of the better athletes in sports. I think it's a very good point you made there. I don't know if they're the best athlete, but they're definitely in the conversation. Your Ken Griffey Jr.'s, Ronald Acuna, the Braves right now. There's been some pretty impressive athletes over the years. That's definitely for sure. Before we wrap up the Power Hour, let's get Steve in EHT. His text over at 609-403-0973. Sorry, I just had to fix something with the station little technical issue behind the scenes, but it's all good. We got it good. Dan EHC says, I totally understand your concern with the Phillies. They've been contenders for 4 straight years. They haven't been good enough in the previous 3 to win a World Series. What makes us believe they could be good enough this season? It's a valid concern. iTest says that last year Wheeler was awesome in Game 1 against the Mets. Should have won, obviously. Would have gone to Game 5. And I still consider last year, you're right, Dan HD, maybe there's a little bit of unluckiness, a little bit of it just didn't go your way. Look, Hoffman, half the reason why he's not here is because of what he did in the postseason last year. If Hoffman pitched better in the postseason last year and some of those other guys would have stepped up offensively, you're right, they could have gone to round 2, and who knows, or the next round, and who knows what the postseason run is like for them. I tend to think that last year, in many ways, felt like the Dodgers were going to win no matter what. I'm not diminishing the Dodgers this year, but I do think the Dodgers, their pitching injuries have really put a dark cloud over their heads. The Phillies, I just feel like they're in HT. I want to see them make a couple of moves at the deadline. You heard Steven Ventnor say a guy like Chapman. A guy like Chapman is an incredible addition for this team. I mean, do you call the Reds and try to get Austin Hayes again? He's having a really good year out there for Cincinnati. There's going to be some interesting names traded at the deadline. It'll just be interesting to see. Are the Phillies the team that acquires those interesting names, or do they go somewhere else? And it goes back to the John Middleton comments from a few months ago. The Phillies have a farm system they have spent a lot of resources in rebuilding. They've offered players in the past other teams were not interested in. There's always the question, do the Phillies value their prospects more than other teams do? And how do you work around that? It's going to be a very interesting summer for the Philadelphia Phillies. Thanks again for Dave Weinberg for joining me here on 97.3 ESPN. Thanks to all of you who were texting in to the show for joining the conversation. And we'll be back tomorrow here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Have a great night, everybody.
Something good to know from First Bank of Sea Isle City. We have all of today's innovative banking products just like the big banks, but we offer something they can't. A personal community focus. Let's get you started with Bill Pay. You save time when you pay your bills online. It's fast, easy, and convenient. First Bank of Sea Isle City. A community bank that delivers more for you every day. Personal service, today's technology, from the people who truly care. Learn more at firstbankseaisle.com.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.